So I think with the onset of a family member with diabetes type 1, of course, the perception of technology, which for me technology, I wasn't aware of the technology that was around the diabetes because I wasn't even aware of the diabetes world. Of course, I think when you start thinking about a chronic disease that certainly creates a lot of stress, mental health issues, and very cumbersome. I think technology plays a critical role in from across the board, right? And all sort of technologies, not just say IT, but biotech and so on, in terms of contributing and making the life not only of the people living with diabetes type 1, but also with the parents and the family members that are close. I think it's thinking about the projects within diabetes that have the most transformative effect in the future. I think it's a complex question because diabetes, we know, it's a complex disease across many angles. So we think about how do we detect this. I think there is an element there of like early detection and delaying the onset, especially as new drugs are coming and therapies that are achieving that. Then I think also how do we enable all the cellular therapy and regeneration of these cells? How do we reset the immune system to think about these cells, right? Then there is maybe the third element of how do we think about insulin and how do we make it less cumbersome? How do we make it more convenient? The delivery, the solutions that we're leveraging for that as insulin and the delivery. And I think there is clearly also a question around how do we deal with this from mental health, from just getting the cumbersome, exhausting management of this. And I would say there is a final question around cost and how do we enable these to be globally advanced, solutions be deployed globally. How do we think about the regulatory paths and the cost and affordability to really reach every corner in the world with these different solutions that technology enables? Yeah, cost is critical one. If we think about, the solutions that we live in our day-to-day, it's really restricted to a small portion in the world, right? So unless we start thinking about, what is the solutions for all these developing countries? What are potentially the local manufacturing capabilities, right? How does, even second point, maybe it's, how does all these heavy regulatory process connect with affordability also, right? And then being a very complex disease, I think diabetes requires also a very holistic approach, right? Also recognizing that patients and people living with diabetes type 1 come from all cultural backgrounds, from on financial conditions, right? From different levels of digital literacy even, right? So I think acknowledging that. And then I would say many of the solutions are also very siloed, and there's a peer integration between all these different systems. So how do we enable a much more integrated ecosystem, right? In which different solutions can integrate, can contribute to the overall outcome of improving the life of people living with diabetes type 1. Well, I think it's more from a personal level. I think it's, I say that there's life before and after diabetes. It's just different life, right? It's and it's something that is part of your everyday. It's part of your family. I think it requires a lot of patience. I think it also requires learning and also maybe feeling part of a community, right? That you're sharing a journey with, that you can share, that you can contribute, and And I like to say that with love and tender, things are easier, as you point out. And I think that's kind of our day-to-day, I think, with our loved ones, right? How do we approach these really as a team?